All right, good morning. Good morning. Today is probably gonna be a scuffed day. Probably not gonna be here too long. We'll take it if A period has, low volume. I might just cut it then. This week's been pretty, stagnant for me. Need trades to happen a lot quicker than they are. I will say that there was a few trade opportunities that did happen this week, but only a couple. But the time required, I usually don't like to hold my trades for a long period of time. And when they kind of go into accumulation or go stagnant trying to decide if they're going to work or not, it's generally not what I like to be involved in. And there's been a lot of that this week. But anyways, going into the open this morning, we don't really have any economic releases that need to be aware of. It is a holiday in a lot of places already. But yeah, there's nothing that I'm really interested in as far as the economic calendar. Just don't need to be aware about that. Something that is interesting though, we were kind of talking about it yesterday and we hit the nail right on the head. Our trading range that we had marked out. We were watching this break right here and it actually presented beautifully on the 5-minute chart as a nice failure opportunity risk to get into. And the idea behind the trade, right? If it fails this trading range extreme, there's a very high chance it will test the other side. And it did, and it actually even tested quite a bit below it. So beautiful TA there. Worked out really nicely. Was a good understanding of what could happen and what should happen. Was definitely tradable too on the 5-minute chart, which is not something I'm used to, but the ATR on these candles, because of this week low volume, we definitely could have traded it. It was a great inside reversal setup there off the hanging man. Big fan. It would have held it trailing the swing points, could have just kept holding, and then at the end of the day it gave its flush all the way down to the other side of the trading range. It was pretty nice. But other than that, not much to say. Going into the open this morning, we do have a 2-leg pullback to the moving average, which did start to work quite nicely. But after it broke below the first attempt, now we did find buyers and we're right back up to the top. So that's not the ideal situation. Could still play out, but that is worth noting. So depending on how the open goes, maybe we stay in coil down here. If we break back up above this swing point, move my lines here. This swing point is very important because if we break back up above it, it'll be a failed 2-leg, and then we'll probably come check above here, and ultimately we'll be back in the trading range, and then we may start trucking right back up to the top side. I'm gonna change the color on these because we know that is our trading range. This is our local swing we're trying to hold. But yeah, very interesting. I'm not super convinced of either thing. The 2-leg pullback that did play or set up looks very nice and did start to work, but I don't like the follow through that is happening after we broke this low. But we'll wait to see if there's any volatility at the open or see what happens, once some volume comes in here at open. But that's kind of how I'm looking. We're either going to go through that level and probably back up into the top of the trading range, or if it does hold and we can start to regain some of these lows and push down, the 2-leg pullback could form, and then we could ultimately come back down. Oh, thank you. And then we could ultimately come back down and test below 47.50. So that's kind of how I'm reading it this morning. we'll see what it gives us, kind of go from there. And of course, there is always the possibility that volume is very low, participation is low this morning, and we just coil down here. Because truthfully, if we take a larger look, we broke below this trading range, and now we're kind of just coiling down here. So, few possibilities. Depending on how the open goes, we'll kind of have a better idea of which possibility is more likely, and kind of trade with that if it presents. So that's our plan. That's our outlook on the day. We'll see how it goes. Good morning, one time. How are you this morning? So this kind of played into one of our ideas here. It looked like a failing two-leg pullback because of the location where we had already came back to at the open. We knew our red line was very important, and if we broke back above that, it would be a failed two-leg pullback entry. And often that gives a slide, and that is what we're seeing right now. So be interesting to see if we can hold back above here for a little bit of time. And if we can, I would not be surprised to just see this market come right back up into this trading range. And then, I mean, not sure what'll happen then, but if we can hold up in here, there's a good possibility that we will regain. First objective though is it has to break back up above the 76 level. Definitely a little bit congested and stuff this morning. That's for sure. I don't feel sick too bad, to be honest, but I'm stuffy. I was nervous that I was going to wake up and feel way worse, but that didn't happen. Not yet anyway. Got some coiling up here. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we've achieved that first level. That was the first step. We needed to get back up above there. Very bullish move back up in off that failed two-leg pullback. Quite clean. We'll see how the market reacts off this first liquidity point. Not really interested in a short from it yet, but if we developed right, then I would fade the move. But we'll see. So this, oh yeah, that's right. I didn't update the software, so it doesn't work on this one. Underneath here is an interesting point, an interesting level. We'll see if the market comes back to test it. Basically our tops that we broke out of perfectly, and also this one-time push, these lows never, broke below. So even though there was a tiny accumulation area there, that would be a really cheeky spot to come test. Excuse me. So I'm definitely, I will say that because it was a failed two-leg pullback, I'm more interested in potential long opportunity, but I don't want high one. Ideally, this fails here. We do one more pullback and set up a two-leg pullback that would line up potentially with this moving average and such. that could be a nice long entry. But I'm not interested in this first opportunity. Oh, looks like it's just going to go off the high one. That's fine. It didn't make it yet. It looks like it wants to, though. Trigger candle follow through is not too bad. Five-minute closed as a doji. Maybe we check under it first. Oh, let's try it again. So it's double topped now. So now my second entry is not valid anymore. Because if it pulls back after double topping, then I'd take it as a reversal instead. It's trying to reject that breakout actually so far. It is giving a cheaper short entry right now off of that potential failure, but doesn't look kind of how I'd want it to be. I'm almost anticipating a spike then channel. Did go 2 ticks. Nice, did play out. There's first target off that moving average. So we had a potential reversal W top now that has broken through the low. Nice. So it did work out better, much better than I expected. Oh, you longed. I got you. Yeah, long the moving average attempt. It's a good try. You were fighting against a double top potential, but I didn't really think that it was. I mean, the reason I didn't trade the double top was because of what we had already achieved. Sorry, but I guess because the double top from liquidity, it got where it wanted and was ready for a pullback. Hard. That is technically one of my setups, but the context, I wasn't as interested in it. I was really anticipating like a spike then channel forming here. So the 5-minute chart now has pulled back. We're back to these tops. Oh, it gave you your 2 points off the bounce right there. I see what you're saying. I got you. So the trade worked out and then you got in type thing. The original trade already had hit target. Yep, I get what you're saying. It's good awareness. Ooh, this is trying to reverse here on a smaller time frame. Didn't close high though. It's a pretty steep pullback. Did not reverse. We're still going. So price definitely rejected that liquidity. Testing off low a day now. Similar to yesterday's open so far, right? Wasn't yesterday's open straight up, straight down? It is straight up, straight back down. So we have another push down. An inside candle doesn't look too bad. Let's see if it checks below first. It's just gonna go up. Really would like to see it check below and then reverse and close up. And that would be a decent trade-off low a day potential for a run back at least halfway, but It didn't form the way that I wanted. No trade. Definitely the algos are holding the same levels, trying to buy still. Can't take a high or a low one here because we had insides on the way. So there's no high or low one opportunities. Have to be a low two. But it would have to set up right. So far, we actually haven't even had a low one trigger yet. It's trying to hold the low a day, similar price action to yesterday. The larger time frame is giving a little bit of a different picture than yesterday, but we haven't even got a candle that reacted enough to make a low yet. Is this one gonna do it? There we go. There's our low one finally. So there's a low one failure. Do we set up for a two leg? It's already not looking right anymore. It looks more bullish than bearish. The candle's never attempting ever until we got to the moving average is like not ideal. Technically, this 5-minute candle, we got 10 seconds on it, and it looks like it wants to not close as an inside candle if it can get up above here. 5 seconds. It did not, so it closed as an inside candle. Good push back up. Good push back up. 71.25. Nice. You already got your target. Beauty. Nice trade. Makes perfect sense to me. Yeah, nice trade. Catch that little bit of volatility to the upside that was happening there. That was nice scalp. $66.25. Oh, damn. That's almost the low. Nice. Well, that's good. That means that you're, I mean, technically then you've had 3 work in a row. You're getting, you're in the right spot. You're on the right side for sure. Technically, that's the second attempt to go short. Happened from the perfect liquidity spot too, right above this area. Wasn't really something I normally look for though, because it had closed above the moving average and started to form above it. So there was like some floors. Wasn't looking for an entry for that there at all, but it did work out very nicely. There's our new low. Wow. This needs to be reviewed, and this also. Both of these are technically setups, and I had a reason thinking about something else that made me not want either of them. Brain was stuck here, potentially thinking spike and then channel, which didn't let me do that. And then here, because of the location on the moving average, completely ignoring that the one-time push liquidity would have been right above this wick here, above this green candle. Reacted at the perfect location. forcing my opinion a little bit too hard, not letting me just trade what's actually happening. How's our volume now? We are done 11 o'clock. Looks like similar to yesterday. Yeah, 99,000. Nice. Well, we have some movement in the market this morning, at least. More than we have the last little bit. Puts us back down here. Our major level is 56. 50. Yeah, would it ever? It's like you can see it. Nice downtrend. We got this little, like, you know, outlier here, but yeah. That's a pretty good spring back up, I'm not gonna lie. Took back that whole move down now without a single candle breaking the low. This is qualifying for a one-time entry for me. We had quite a downtrend move and then a very, very strong like spring back up. We're at 6 candles in a row now. So we're gonna try, if it sets up right, we're gonna play into trap shorts here. We need a small hesitation pullback and then buy the first candle to make a high. And I really, really like that it had the ability to get back through the moving average and be closing up here now, because now in theory my pullback will land right in a pocket there around the moving average. Kind of what I'm going to play into. It's very strong. Maybe we react off this downtrend line a little bit, gives us a small tiny pullback somewhere here. Allow me to buy the first candle to make a high, looking for extension. That's what I'm going to play into. I was reviewing my trade from yesterday, and I did mismanage it. I've thought about it a lot after, and I got way too greedy. When that market gave me the extension exit, it gave me almost 1.5 to 1, and I was really trying to force and hold myself out for like a second leg down, but I know that strategy I normally don't hold for 2 legs. So I don't know why I tried to hold it for 2 legs there. I guess, to be honest, it was because it didn't get to 2 to 1 or anything yet, so I was like trying to force what I wanted. I had higher expectations than I should have. The market so this is the first candle to pull back, so I have to start now. We have the resting order in case. But yeah, should have exited that trade on extension and not held it through that whole pullback. Even though the market did, like, it gave the extension, it gave, the principle behind why I took the trade. I didn't take it out, and I got greedy because I wanted 2 to 1, Okay, we have another candle went a little lower, so we can buy off top of that one. See if it goes for us. Yeah, it was a nice entry, and it gave the follow through too. Like it gave like a full candle extension below. Like it was a poor mismanaged trade. The candles were smaller than normal, so like my risk was only like 80 bucks and it made it to like 130 or 140, and I just was like everything about it, I wasn't positioned high enough to allow myself to take it out, and it was just mismanaged. I wanted more out of something that wasn't going to give me more. Like, the trade worked, right? The trade did exactly what I wanted it to do. I just didn't let it do what I wanted it to do. All right. Let's see if it top tick fills us right to stop out. I love this entry. This couldn't be better. I don't like that the top tick filled me and it's giving me red though. That's really not a good start. But gotta take it. That is literally the AAA version of this setup. Spike rate passed back up against trend, right above the moving average. Touch it, first candle to make a high. Whew. It's got everything I want. Fully accept the risk. I will say I don't like that top tick filled me though and instantly sold, gave selling pressure. It's not ideal. Still hesitating too. Really need to regain that high. I need 2 ticks of room. 1, 2. It's my max risk. Oh no, not quite. No, bad math. If it fails, I will not take a high 2. It should go off a high 1 if it's going to go. Otherwise, it's not the momentum that I thought. Bunch of yeah. All right. We felt it. The top tick entry that had no follow through pretty much sold me on that I was wrong, but that's okay. Had to take it. We were taking it into the downtrend line, but that presentation was so good. So I kind of suspect now that I'm not going to take a second opportunity, I don't think. Normally don't, so I'm not going to start now. Instead, I'm going to try to reset and think that the market is still short. Whew. It's going to show me that I'm wrong twice. Looks so good. I'm fighting the urge to just FOMO in so hard. It looks like the 2-leg pullback is, I mean, it looks really good. It's all right. I can't revenge trade it. Looks beautiful though. It's got nice follow through. This was the reaction that we were looking for from here, but she couldn't quite go. Looks good. Should at least get a pop up over the tie here. Yeah. See if we can get back up over the swing point, which was the idea for the first entry I took. I was just a little bit too aggressive. Kind of poor performance by me, to be honest, this morning. Missed trade. If I wouldn't have missed the first two setups, could have paid for the loser. I'm glad that I didn't FOMO into this trade though, even though it did look good. I never revenge trade it. I just kind of accept it. Yeah, the entry was a little too aggressive. Yeah, I had to take it though. I wanted it so bad. It matched the setup in like the most AAA version of the setup as it could be. So I am glad that I took it. It's kind of starting to fail off that extension, to be honest. It was quite important for us to get above 74.25, kind of like on the continuation of momentum. This is not good momentum follow through, that's for sure. Definitely not what you'd want to see being long. Sellers step back in. See if we end up losing this moving average here. It's back testing like the entries from that that long breakout. We have a little bit of indecision down here. Depending on how this 1 minute candle closes, it's going to encourage some longs. We closed back up above our 69.50 level. We would have an inside reversal here at a low swing point. Be trying to hold. It did not. So it's interesting, like this kind of reaction, although it did happen from up here, like even if my long entry would have worked from here, this would have still kind of messed with me because I didn't get my target. My target was like the entry here, right? This concept was like a bigger move is what I was looking for, which didn't work either. So the fact that the trade stopped me out and then went, I already knew it wasn't working the way that it like should for a AAA setup. So the sell is still coming back in from a little bit higher does make sense. Not getting the follow through we should. If I would have FOMO'd into this retest, yeah, you got extension, but again, would have been looking for much more than that. Got a decent 2-bar off the low extreme. Two bar with some follow through now. Held the bottom swing to the tick so far. It's definitely trying to reject that low, losing that low. But context-wise, not a fan of that pattern at this location, so it is trying to hold the low though. Yeah, it's really trying. Yeah, get 3 in a row now. Back up above the moving average on both time frames. Crazy, it's trying to hold to the tick. Been more interested in a short than a long. Don't like, right, that none of this reacted the way that it should for that momentum. And we rejected all the way back down to the very low. Two bar. Nasty little area here. You can't take the short off a low one though because we had an inside candle here, so it didn't trigger yet, but prerequisite's not there. How's our volume in B period? $70K. A little bit more than yesterday, but less than the couple days before that. Low though compared to normal. We're still very low. Definitely a little bit of indecision here. The longer this stays around, we're kind of just coiling, not breaking this high or this low, chopping around in between. We're gonna breach our low finally. Some nasty 5-minute candle price action right here. Woo! Oh, we did lose it finally. I had to stand up for a sec. Kind of looks like a nice head and shoulders pattern there. Neckline didn't break before the other shoulder, but sure looks like a nice textbook one. We never did achieve this level. Like we held. So technically our downtrend stair stepping is still valid, still happening. We're retesting our underside here, what we just lost. It'd be interesting to see if we can keep going, maintain our stair stepping. Not really any actionable trade for me to take down here. Have had 3 opportunities though. Just kind of flubbed the bag. 100% on me. Nice, we're still going. Makes sense TA wise. We can continue, like, be interesting to see if we go back through this level, like this area, as fast as we did before, because we failed to achieve a high, or if we kind of get stuck through here and start coiling more throughout the day because of the low volume. As much as most of our volume and trading has been done up in here, I don't think that I'm interested in taking any kind of like mean reversion trade down here unless it happened at a newer low. Price could hold and we coil, but I'm just not real interested, even if it's set up, unless it happened off of another test of the low. Slowly grinding down. kind of slowly getting our way down like we kind of expected. We didn't slide right through this area. It was probably going to be hesitation at these levels. But not interested in playing a mean reversion for a higher low. It's a W trying to form. We are slightly above that small swing right there. See if they've got enough juice to hold a higher low and push us back up into the choppy zone just in the middle again. Could be what happens. It's a pretty good rejection off the moving average there. Would play into the W being a trap. difficult. It's not real decided, not real clean. They're trying to close these pullbacks green and like trying to push it up, but not really succeeding either. Oh, trying again here. Didn't get back up above 65.50. Have a little bit of a W that happened, and we had the pullback retest, which then worked and went up. Then the chances of us moving back up into like the mean of the day is a lot more likely. They're smacking her down. It's good. Push me down here. Let's get down here to these lows, and maybe I can have a nice trade that sets up down there. We're kind of in no man's land for me down here. Not interested in a trade setup through this location. Like to see a test of the extreme. Oh, I'm not sure, man. That's a good good question. It is the last trading day of the year. Back up we go. Well, well, now what? Market did not come down to where we wanted to do business. It did find some buyers down here. So now we hesitated for a bit. Another trading range created down here. Popped up out of it now. There's like a very clear line that separates these two ranges, right? Like right here. All right. Whoop. Kind of get this range, and we've got this range. This is one of those situations where we came all the way back up and tested the high of the swing point. It didn't break it. So, you know, we come back down to retest the low, and now we've put in kind of like a dirty inside reversal down here as well. And now we're coming right back up to the mean. So we failed to break the high, failed to break the low. Do we coil? We're in like the first part of a coiling situation. We technically, you know, are still downtrending, I guess, because we haven't broken the most recent swing to swing, but that's about it. We do have, you know, a 5-minute 2-leg pullback back to the moving average now, which is at this underside. I'm not real convinced of either direction. If I'm being honest, I'm not really stocking anything at this point. I want to say that I like the idea of a possible this being a 2-leg pullback to the moving average in what is in another downtrend like attempt, but it's going against this potential higher low. It's kind of weird. Got a minute and a half left on this 5-minute candle. Twenty seconds. Yeah, definitely not how you'd want it to close. unless it failed right. It did not fail right there. So yeah, no trade. We're right back up into the middle of the previous area. This is kind of the worst case scenario for us, really. This is like, it's the one thing I really didn't want to happen, was being held at a higher low and then move back to the middle of the volume, because, you know, it just leaves me tradeless. I'm kind of stuck. Can't really trade in that situation because now, like, we are having price coiling. It's trying to respect it too. It's a big rejection candle. That is the 5 minute. 2-leg pullback now triggered. It's a strong rejection from that level. And the 2-leg pullback candle is just gonna go. It never really it's a big candle now. Not a clean way to get in off that, unless I were to just have gotten in off the 1 minute rejection shooting star. Two minutes on this candle close. It was a strong rejection from that above trading range. Inside reversal's objective is to come back to the mean, which it did. So we have a two-leg pullback now that has fully signal fired and everything. So that candle right there would then allow me to have moved risk down to here now. So, I mean, the ideal situation for this trade is that it never stops stair stepping all the way down. Ideally, the quicker the better. And ultimately giving us a new low under this higher low attempt would be the final target from that setup. It's not ideal. Looks like price is trying to now continue the coiling. One tick away from hitting the trail stop. It's trying to hold that, say that tick to the tick. Price still respecting the coil. That would have been the trailed stop right there. Their volume looking. Pretty shite. Pretty low. Respecting the coil. Let's see if we can, if it's gonna stop coiling or if we're gonna keep coiling. This one never did quite make it down. We going for it? Still respecting the coil. I'm ready for this thing to dump to here and touch this side now. Just for maximum frustration. Difficult trading. Difficult trading. The last little bit's been a little bit more difficult to read. Kind of just need to expect that there's not really a whole lot of trend continuation and it's a lot of coil and range fading. We had a little bit of trend options this morning. I think I'm probably just going to do my review now and walk away. Not really any option for me to trade here without us testing highs and lows or having some form of trend situation happening, the risk to reward on my types of setups is very minimal in a coil situation, so I don't want to get mixed up in it. I will say that this morning, this entry up here was very nice. And the big reason that I missed it, and I mean hindsight is 2020, but the big reason that I missed it was because at the time I wasn't actually stalking it. I wasn't looking for a short entry here. I was we talked about maybe the market coming down and giving a two-legged pullback to the moving average that I'd be interested in depending on how the top formed, but then the top formed as like, you know, a failed breakout very cleanly with a nice shooting star signal candle. Really quite beautiful presentation, and on the higher time frame it did happen at the perfect location too, just above here. So we're into that like nice liquidity pool right above that swing point. So the location was there, everything was there. Now I would have tried to take that trade for 2 legs off of a reversal. We take for 2 legs, and it never actually gave like I would have ended up taking it around somewhere here as soon as we would have got this green candle, because I would have been up, you know, 2-3 to 1 and below the moving average. There's no way I would have continued to hold that trade. The other situation is, and part of the reason that I missed it was because we were talking, or I was talking about how if it breaks up above and holds above that red line, then it was looking quite nice for longs. It did break above it, but it didn't hold above it. So like I was too focused on looking for a long and really missed the possibility of a really strong fade opportunity. So, you know, tried to force, I guess, what I was looking for too much, and wasn't able to capitalize on what actually was happening. Need to be a little bit less, you know, stuck, and be open to like both ideas, be ready for what could happen. And then here, this is also a nice 2-leg pullback. Now I'm gonna say, admittedly, 2 things happened here. One, I was looking for it to happen a little bit lower, and that's, you know, is what it is. But if I look to the left, right, because we had this one-time move, there was slight hesitation here. So on a smaller time frame, there is a pullback in here. So we know that it makes sense to check the liquidity on that pullback. So that's where this went to, right? Right above this area, and then gave the signal for the 2-leg pullback. Does make sense. The other reason that I was hesitant here and not ready to pull the trigger on this setup was yesterday's price action, and that's not really fair of me or correct of me to carry that over into today, but I did. The market pushed up and then pushed right back down and tested the low. Those 2 things happened the exact same way yesterday, and then when we retested the low, we ended up slow grinding all the way back up and retesting the high again. And visually, as this was happening, that's where my mind went. It got stuck on that setup, and potentially like I was accepting that that was the same thing that was happening again. So I completely missed this, you know, nice 2-leg pullback failure right here. And same thing, right? This would have been taken for a 2-leg entry, which it did give perfectly. The ideal situation on the 2-leg pullback is you get 2 legs and it equals, you know, the measured move of the first one, which is basically identical to what happened. It was a really, really big miss, and brain just not in the right spot, right? Too focused on a different situation and not really sticking to the opportunity of like taking either side depending on what happens. Should have been looking more for it, and I was looking for it as it was building up through here, but then as we regained the moving average, I just kind of lost touch with it. I definitely was starting to accept that it was going to be the same context as yesterday, and I missed a great opportunity. Now, you know, rebounded again, and this situation that I took right here was, I mean, to me, the only thing that it has going against it, I guess, is this downtrend line, but it could have broke out of it and continued like, you know, we expected, the reason we took the trade. But this is like a AAA version of the setup. Ideally, the market's trending against like the opposite direction, and then we quickly get a strong spring off of a level, and minimum five candles in a row, one timing back up or down, like against the move, the original move, which we had perfectly. We had 6 or 7, and then ideally it happens with a pullback to the moving average small. We had a small flag and the first candle to make a high. Literally, it checkmarked everything. It couldn't have been better visually. I love it. I'll take it 10 out of 10 times. I don't have anything else to say about that. It just didn't work. Now, I will say that I did manage the trade correctly, did not revenge trading, because technically it did give a 2-leg pullback then at this point, which did fire and go. But this is something I've noticed in the past, and this is why I removed the ability to revenge trade. The setups that I have designed, when they fail, give me good information. So when this failed, I knew that the momentum was not quite as strong as I wanted or was intending for. So often, you know, even though this did try one more time and go, this didn't go anywhere near as far as it should have, right? Momentum was not actually there, like not yet. We were a little early, and it never really stepped back in. So even if I would have taken this 2-leg pullback, it didn't even really give 1-to-1 off of the signal candle before it would have pulled right back out, down against me, and I would have ended up having to get out at break even. So that's why I don't revenge trade these situations anymore, and today was another good example of why I don't do it most of the time. I mean, sometimes I'll just be wrong and it'll absolutely work the next time, but those are, you know, it is what it is. But generally for me, if the first trade doesn't work, that's enough information to tell me that, you know, I was wrong, the context isn't quite as good as I was thinking. So good management there on taking the trade and getting stopped out, and then being able to not revenge trade the next situation, because it would have amounted into nothing. But yeah, then that was pretty much it. Never really had another situation that I really wanted after that. Price pretty much went coiling. Was really hoping that price was going to come down and check this low extreme, and then maybe I could have taken a fade opportunity. Didn't get it though. Created a higher low, and then we got stuck up here, and now we're just kind of coiling still. It's trying to come out, but not really interested. Not really interested. So it is what it is. If I was a little bit quicker this morning, we could have had 2 nice wins and 1 stop out, which, you know, the profit orders would have hit and, you know, paid for the stop out and then lots of profit on top. So it was kind of a poor performance day by me, and is what it is. Glad I didn't miss all 3 opportunities, but these 2 are a good reminder of, you know, got to keep my head more open, not be so focused and like stuck on a certain situation, because they were 2 misses for sure. And really, this one, really, you got to be aware of where that liquidity point is that it's checking, right? Because it checked it perfectly, and I just was completely oblivious. I was totally like in my head. I remember at the time I was like, oh, this is doing the same thing as yesterday, and we're gonna grind up. And then when this candle closed and this started to go, I was like, shit, I just missed like a perfect setup. But to be honest, while it was forming, I wasn't stalking it at all. I was not ready at all to pull the trigger there. So good reminder, good day to learn from again. Didn't do a lot of damage. Normal stop out, lower than max risk and all that. We're good. Hopefully next week our volume will get back to normal, and maybe our price action won't be so stagnant and coily. It's been a lot of heavy range trading this week. Slow range trading or slow grinding. Difficult week for me for sure. I'm excited too, man. Very excited. I'm gonna try. I am not changing anything other than I'm gonna end up doing a nice review this weekend, and really try to hone in and remind myself again, like I need to be like more focused, more ready to take those setups, because man, in my journaling, if I were to take every setup that actually forms properly for me, you know, I'm green most days, but I still am struggling to be able to be like truly ready and snap that trigger every time when it's there. You know, I hesitate too long, or I'm focused on something else and I completely miss the opportunity altogether. So we're getting there. We're getting better. We're not losing money hand over fist. So that's a good thing. There's good things and bad things about pretty much every day lately. We just need to keep at it, keep doing the same thing, so that you know, that is one thing. I'll be honest, this is the longest I've ever done the same approach in my trading career. I've never stuck to one, you know, same approach, meaning like the way that I read it and the way that I'm trading for this long. So I think that that's a really good improvement on itself. And it's definitely helping, because I'm slowly noticing more and more nuances about the trade setups that are like, you know, the trade's working, the trade's not working, the trade's forming like it should, you know. That's helping me improve my edge for sure. Growing the confidence to allow the trades to move longer. That was something that we did do better this month. My winners this month did run longer than normal. I did allow them to work properly. It was good. But yeah, that'll be that. And yeah, man, we'll see you Monday, starting our 2022 year. It's gonna be a good year. Have a good weekend and Happy New Year. Enjoy your weekend, man.